Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Kelly. Today we are going to be exploring yoga anatomy and how it affects the Utthita Trikonasana, or the extended triangle pose. But before we can get to the pose, we really need to get to the bare bones of it all, literally. And that means we need to take a look at our skeletal system, our spine, talk a little bit about bone stacking. And if you're like, what's bone stacking? Well, before the end of this video, you'll have a better idea of what that means, as well as some common cues you may hear in a yoga class in terms of helping you with your alignment, and all with the beautiful intention of helping you have and be safe and stable in your yoga poses and have a safe and stable yoga practice. So again, before we get to the pose, we're going to take a little trip through the human body. So are you ready? All right, let's go. Okay, so we are going to start by taking a look at the skeletal system. The skeletal system is made up of two parts, the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton is the skull, spine, and rib cage, and they all work together to protect the spinal cord. The appendicular skeleton is the upper and lower extremities or appendages of the body, like the arms and the legs. This also includes the shoulder girdle and pelvis, or pelvic girdle. The shoulder girdle connects the upper appendages to the axial skeleton, while the pelvis, or the pelvic girdle, connects the lower appendages to the axial skeleton. So when we're doing our yoga practice and our postures and our asanas, they really contribute to the spinal health because they move the spine in 6 directions. In those directions, we put the spine in lateral flexion by side stretching our bodies to the right and to the left. We move into spinal rotation by twisting the spine to the right and the left. We can move into a forward fold, putting the spine in flexion and decompressing the spine. And then also back bending, which not only opens the front of the body, but it strengthens the muscles in your back and puts the spine in extension. So speaking of our spine supports the weight of our head, which keeps us upright and transfers the weight of our trunk and abdomen to our legs. It protects the spinal cord, which connects our brain to the rest of our body. And you'll see in this image on your screen, there's a natural curvature of our spine, and that's because we need it to help absorb and distribute the stresses that occur from everyday movement. If our spine were to be straight up and down, it would take an immense amount of wear and tear from the constant shock of everyday movement. Looking at the natural curvature of the spine, if you start up towards the head and the neck, you'll see the spine is made of 33 individual bones, and they're stacked one on top of the other. But the very top in the neck area that supports the head is called the cervical spine, and there are 7 individual bones there. Moving a little lower down into the upper back, which supports the rib cage and protects the heart and lungs, is the thoracic spine, and there are 12 individual bones there. Moving a little lower, you'll find 5 bones in the lumbar spine, and that's the lower back, and it really absorbs the stress of lifting and carrying heavy objects. Going a little lower, there are 5 bones in the sacrum, and they're all fused together, which forms the pelvic girdle, and that is what, as we mentioned earlier, connects the spine to the hip bones. And in the very bottom, there are 4 teeny tiny little bones there in the coccyx, the tailbone, and that provides attachment for ligaments and muscles of the pelvic floor. And the spinal column provides the main support for your body, so it's allowing you to stand upright, to bend, to twist, all while protecting the spinal cord from injury. Strong muscles and bones, flexible tendons and ligaments, and sensitive nerves contribute to a healthy spine. Yet, any of these structures affected by strain, injury, or disease can cause pain. Each vertebra in your spine, if you look a little closer at the picture, is separated and cushioned by an intervertebral disc, which keeps the bones from rubbing together. And then there are the facet joints of the spine that allow the back motion. Each vertebra has 4 facet joints, one pair that connects to the vertebra above and one pair that connects to the vertebra below. And yoga helps strengthen the muscles that support the spine, improve your posture, and help lengthen the spine and reduce spinal compression. Which leads us to bone stacking. What is bone stacking? It really is just lining up all of your bones and joints, allowing you to best use your strength and breath in positioning your body to achieve the fullest benefit of the yoga pose without risking injury. This is the very basis of alignment in our yoga practice. So speaking of alignment with the spine, sometimes you'll hear yoga teachers cue you in class saying things like elongate your spine, inhale to lengthen, exhale to ground, draw your navel in towards your spine, stack your shoulders over your hips, let your shoulders melt away from your ears, root down to rise up. Why do teachers say these things? It is to remind you to be self-aware of your spine health through proper alignment, stacking the bones and joints, breathing and moving with safety and stability in your yoga poses. Which brings us to our extended triangle pose. With all of this in mind, the extended triangle pose has tremendous benefits to the body and spine. In Utthita Trikonasana, you are actually creating 3 triangles in your body. The first one, marked in blue, is the top fingers and both feet, where they form a large triangle. The second is where both legs and the floor create a medium-sized triangle in red. And the third, also in red, is the side body, the front thigh, and the lower arm. They create a smaller triangle. So not only are we actually creating triangles in the body in extended triangle pose, but there are so many benefits to the body. Just naming a few, it improves our focus and balance by practicing this posture. We strengthen the muscles in our legs and back, strengthen the joints in our shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles, stretch the hamstrings, inner thighs, calves, and spine. Stretch our chest, shoulders, and torso. Enhance our digestive system while stimulating abdominal organs. And build flexibility, awareness, and alignment in our body, in our breath, in our Utthita Trikonasana. But taking a little deeper look at the extended triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana, and having some body awareness in this pose before we actually move into it. We want to be mindful of what we're asking our bodies to do for the best use of your strength and breath in positioning your body to achieve the fullest benefit of the yoga pose without risking injury. If that sounds familiar, it is. It's the bone stacking we talked about earlier. Alignment of the body to protect and strengthen and stretch. So taking a look at this posture from the ground up, we start with the feet, grounding through the outer edge of the feet, lifting through the arches, moving up into the legs, drawing the kneecaps into the quads as you strengthen the legs, externally rotating the legs and pulling back on the rear hip. Lengthening in the side body, keeping the spine long as you rotate the torso, opening the chest towards the sky, and keeping the crown of the head forward, taking your gaze or your drishti up. Stacking your shoulders, feeling that elongation through the arms as you fully stretch, keeping them active. Really feeling the pose, mindful that you can make adjustments while you're in it, but to keep breathing deeply. And you'll hold the pose for 5 long, deep inhales and exhales using the Ujjayi pranayama, the victorious breath. When you complete it on one side, of course, keeping balance in the body, you'll move and shift to the other side. Are you ready to try it? Okay, let's move on to our mats. I'll meet you there. So we're ready to try our Utthita Trikonasana extended triangle pose. So on your mat, you're going to bring your hands to your hips and just open your feet nice and wide. I would say they would be as wide as one leg's length. We really want to give ourselves some space and grace to really open and extend into this posture. With your hands on your hips, you kind of just gently shift the hips side to side. So you can feel the little crease that you're creating as you push the hips to the right and push the hips to the left. And then come back through center. Find your nice long line of energy from the base of your spine out to the crown of your head. Opening your arms out wide to a T, rotate the toes of your right foot to 12 o'clock and keeping the toes of your left foot at about 9 o'clock, so like at a 90-degree angle. Looking at aligning the heel of the front foot to the heel of the back foot. Right? Not letting the shoulders right up into the ears, but letting them melt away. And when you open your foot, if it felt like you were coming forward, be mindful of that. This is a side-facing pose, so we don't want to drop through the chest or the shoulders. Right, from here, and I have a hyperextended knee, so I have to be very careful. I like to put a little micro bend in my knees as we root down through the feet, draw the kneecaps up into the quads, squeezing those inner thighs toward each other, but also externally rotating the legs. As you're drawing the kneecaps up, take a peek down at them. The knee should be in line with your hip, as well as your ankle and the first two toes of your right foot. Okay, let's reach out over the right fingertips. So you're pushing the hips to the left. And remember that crease right here. Pushing, drawing the left hip back. Reaching out over the right fingertips and stacking the shoulders, opening up. So not falling forward, dropping the chest, but really extending up through the fingertips and also extending down through the fingertips. Feel that extension coming from within. Right, crown of the head is forward. If it doesn't hurt your neck, you could tilt the chin up and take the gaze up, or just take the gaze up. Right. Holding here for 5 breaths. Gazing down on your fifth exhale to come on up to center. Right, let's try that on the other side. So rotating the toes of the left foot to 12 o'clock, keeping the right toes the same. So they would be, I guess that would be 3 o'clock on a, but look what I just, I started to rotate forward. We want to keep this side facing. So again, just body awareness. This is a side facing pose, right? Elongating the spine, lengthening and strengthening the muscles around it, right? So starting with your feet, really root down through the feet, those outer heels, arches lifting, draw the kneecaps into the quads. And I'm mindful of my hyperextended legs, so just a little micro bend there. Taking a peek down so the ankle, toes, knee, hip are all in one line of energy. We start to reach out over your left fingertips as you push your hips to the right. So really drawing this right hip back, feeling that crease maybe in the left hip. Keep reaching and extending and then opening the arms up. Not rolling the shoulder back, but drawing the chest up towards the sky. And the crown of the head is in line with the spine, reaching out through the crown of the head, gazing up or tilting the chin and drawing the head up. Give yourself 5 rounds of breath here, that deep Ujjayi pranayama. Almost like you're leaning back. Draw the navel in. Finish your exhale. And then come on up. All right, return to center. All right, so that is my fullest expression of Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. Whether I'm working through an injury or if I'm new to the practice or just don't have the energy that my body is allowing, there are ways to modify this. And being open to modifications is not showing a weakness. It's actually showing a strength, that you're honoring your body and you're taking it to its edge, but you're not going past it. So a great tool is using a block and triangle, because if your body isn't allowing you to come down without dropping your shoulder down or caving through your chest, a block is a great option because it brings the floor up a little higher. So you can put it in front or behind the foot. Bringing the arms out wide and keeping everything in your center. Reach, extend, and extend. And then as you lower down, finding the block. Okay. Drawing the shoulders back, the chest up. All right, come on up. And we'll try that on the other side. All right, so rotating the toes. Actually, try the block on the inside of the foot this time. Again, just exploring, all right? Body awareness, checking out what works for you, what challenges you, but also what's going to prevent the risk of injury to the body. All right, so honoring your body, reaching out, extending, finding that block, reaching up, drawing the navel in. Okay, and then coming up. Right? So that is one way to modify, and I wouldn't even really call it a modification. I would just say it's a tool of awareness. Another tool of awareness is practicing this up against a wall. And what that's going to do is it's really going to make you mindful of the backside of your body, keeping that long plane of energy so that you're not rolling forward. So you're feeling your shoulders and your butt up against the wall. Right? So as you're reaching and extending, you do maybe give yourself a little lean back so you can feel, okay, when you do step away from the wall, you'll feel that nice long line of energy. Again, trying that to the other side. Back a little, running out of wall space. Reach, and then open up. You're kind of pressing shoulders back and the butt back. And then coming up. All right, so that is extended triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana. So that is the yoga anatomy of extended triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana. And I invite you to maybe even replay and rewind and even subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about yoga and the poses. But it's really important because sometimes in a yoga class, you may only have like 5 breaths, whether you're a teacher or a student, to move the body parts, think about the breath, think about your drishti, your gaze, and engaging your energy locks in the body, the bandhas. So the more you can learn about the poses that you're doing, the more you'll be able to approach them in a very safe and stable way that is going to be beneficial for your spine health, as well as help you prevent the risk of injury. So thank you so much for joining today. If you want to learn more or check out some of my other videos, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time.